Hey everybody, so great to see you. My name is Alejandro Bernard and this is lesson 2 of my beginning jazz piano course. On the menu for today is a warm-up that's going to serve as the introduction for Don't Get Around Much Anymore, and that's the song that we've been working on since lesson 1. We're going to tie everything together so that we're going to finish up Don't Get Around Much Anymore, and there's a couple community questions at the end. So thanks so much for stopping by. Let's get right into it. Okay, we're going to get started with a little bit of a warm-up, so check this out. It goes like this. 2 and you can repeat. Okay, so that's our warm-up for today. It's got some rhythms on it, it's got some nice harmony, and I stole it from Cannonball Adderley. Okay, so if you check out the recording Cannonball Adderley or Cannonball's Bossa Nova, it's on that. I forget which track it is, but the whole album's good, so you should listen to it. So let's go slowly. You can watch my hands. There's a pickup. I like to use my second and third fingers to play that pickup, and then you have this nice chord progression. This first chord. The top note stays the same, but everything else is moving down by half step pretty consistently. Once you get here, just the bottom voice moves down by half step, and then you can resolve here. Okay? So let's just do that again really slowly. Then you go to the next one. Right, just one note in the left hand. We call this chorale style voicings. Then once you get here to your D minor 7 chord, just the bass moves down, and then you come here. Okay? So don't even worry about the rhythms up front, just worry about getting the hand grip right. So once you get to the end, here, this span, depending on your hand size, and the right hand might be too big, that's okay. You can drop your bottom note, okay? And you can just do this. And that's fine, okay? Because this might be a big stretch. But if you can manage, it just helps to keep the line going. Okay? And then it can be our introduction for the song that we've been working on. Today's lesson, what I want to try to accomplish is just to kind of round out Don't Get Around Much Anymore. I want to finish that tune. So what we're going to do is we're going to review the bridge. We're going to play the bridge. There's a little bit of segue material, and then we're going to put it all together again. So that's what I want to do right now. So let me pull that up. So here is our little segue material. This is the second ending coming out of the second A section. So goes like this. Okay, and that's just going to help us transfer to F6, which is going to be in the bridge. Okay, so I'm just going to show you that by rote. Go slowly again. Okay, so this stretch here to do 4, it might be a lot. Okay, again, this is supposed to be beginning jazz piano course, so you can just drop it. Right, and then you can have your articulations be shorter. So pause the video, see if you can get that under your fingers, but that's going to help us transfer and transition to the B section. So here's the B section. Okay, this is the meat and potatoes of today's lesson. And if you're vegan, the kale and soy of today's lesson. I don't know what vegans eat. I'm not a vegan, but I imagine that would be a staple of one's vegan diet. So here we go to the bridge. Oh, that's not the bridge. Okay, that's the second portion of the bridge. So there are 8 full measures of the bridge, and here are the first floor. I'm going to play them for you. There's a little pickup. 1, 2, 3. Right? Okay, so that's the first 4. Then it goes into the next 4. What the heck? I'll play the whole bridge. Let's do it. Oh, excuse me. And 1. All right, then we can get to our final A section. Okay, so you've got the sheet music in the description. If you want to just go there, that's fine. But the tricky portion about this, there are 2 tricky things. First one is just 4 voices in the left hand, okay? So as you're learning these voices, make sure to grip them, right? Using a strong hand, like you have a claw shape. Some people have imagined holding like a little tangerine in their palms, but you really don't want to have flat fingers like this, okay? You want to have strong hands, curled fingers playing from the fingertips deeply into the keys, okay? So, do your due diligence. Just play deeply like that. Eventually we're going to play light, but just to introduce these 4 voices to your hands, you want to play deeply, okay? So the fingering, I probably use 1, 2, 3, 5. Again, I'd use 1, 2, 3, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 5. And again, 1, 2, 3, 5. Yeah, those are just going to give you a nice strong grip. So the melody has a little bit of syncopation in it. And we talked about this in last lesson, that the left hand, while it has these consistent quarter notes, the right hand can be syncopated. Right? So the right hand does the swinging, the right hand has those cool rhythms, but the left hand really has to be the anchor, right? So just take a little bit of time, to work that out. So when you're putting it together, right, there's a syncopation, right? So that might be difficult to do. So what you can do is you can kind of just warm up some rhythms when you're ready. So we're just going to take F6, and maybe you can throw this right hand rhythm at it. You go just on one note, just trying to make sure that you're playing good rhythms. Maybe you can try this rhythm. Right? And even for fun, you can try doing it through the whole progression. And C works on all of those notes. Even if you go on. Right? Then you can go on. So try that. And then when we get to here, the same rhythm again, and there's a little bit of a break, and boom, right? And we're ready for our final A section. Okay, so we're gonna put everything together. We go nice and easy. 2, 1, 2, 3. And I like to take the repeat. Here we go. And that's the whole tune, okay? All right, so now we get to the segment of community questions, and one of the questions that I had this week was, how do I take an improvised jazz piano solo? And okay, that's not something that can be answered really easily, but what I thought I'd do is I just kind of set you up with a jam so that you can get improvising today, okay? So that's a really, really big question to answer, and so I'm just gonna show you how to do it in this really small context. Okay, so let me play it first and then talk about it. So 3, it goes like this. Okay, so I just took a little improvised solo over this set of changes. So whenever we're taking solos at the piano or we're improvising in general, it's a really good idea to just lay out what the boundaries are, what the rules are, what your limitations are, so that you can make creative decisions within those limits. So the biggest limiting factor here is I've decided to give you this chord progression, using a meter of 4/4. So there's 4 counts of this, and then we're going to this one, okay? And that's the game, okay? These are the rules of the game. You get 4 bars of this, 4 beats of this, and then you get 4 beats of this, okay? And so you want to figure out how can I make that sound good. So for these chords, there is a collection of notes that is going to sound good. And so over this first chord, the generally accepted collection of notes that sound good is like the D major scale. Right? So there's you can just do your D 5-finger grip, right? Or D arpeggio, right? And that's going to sound really, really good over there. So, that's your rule. You have this collection of notes, and then you can just make beautiful melodies. We're not even going to go on the second chord. Right? Okay, and you can just make really, really pretty melodies there. So then we go to this next chord, right? And you can use, this scale, right? And so this is what we call the D Phrygian mode. Don't worry about it, but it's just this collection of notes, right? And the big thing that you want to take away is that in the first chord you had E and F sharp were good. Now you get to this chord, E flat and F natural are good, okay? Especially with your B flat, right? These are the big change, right? And we're going to do what's called making the changes, okay? And so you're adjusting your collection of notes so that they fit and they abide by this rule, right? And so patterns are cool, right? You can just go up and down the scale, right? So you can, again, put your time in, 1, 2. You can just improvise over this one chord. You can maybe come up with some cool rhythms, triplets, 16th notes, 8th notes, maybe do thirds, right? But you're kind of exploring, right? That's your idea. That's your job as the beginning improviser, is to explore. And I know we all want to take really masterful solos, so that's me attempting to take a masterful solo, okay? So we all want to play stuff that sounds really, really good, and I want you to be able to do that. But in order to do that, you really got to explore and you got to find things. And I'm telling you, just have faith in me that if you put your emphasis on exploration, you are going to come up with a really great sounding solo, okay? So just kind of, challenge yourself, find different ways to keep it interesting and stimulating for you, and then you're going to just take a really nice solo, okay? So that's what I would recommend to you or anybody who wants to just kind of dabble in taking improvised solos. You got this chord change, and you have a collection of notes that sounds good, and just pianistically, I would probably pedal each count, pedal, just make it pretty. Okay, jazz. So there's been a couple comments that have been saying that this is not a beginning jazz piano course, that this is more of an intermediate level jazz piano course. So I just want to take a moment to talk to that. First off, I really appreciate your feedback, and just when you leave comments like that, it really helps me to calibrate and to adjust. And so I looked over the video last week, and I was doing a lot of talking. I was doing a lot of theoretic analysis of the things that I'm going over. And I think that was really good feedback to hear from you, because I want to avoid doing that. And so my goal is to show you to be able to play jazz. I want you the beginning pianist, someone who's had 2 to 3 years of experience, or 4 to 5 years of experience, and I guess you could call that an intermediate level player. But my goal is for you to play jazz very quickly, right? And it's almost impossible to have a beginning jazz piano course from a theoretical perspective, because everything we're doing is advanced. I mean, even the warm-up that I showed you, like, to be able to explain that, there's a lot of theory at work there, but to be able to play it is pretty easy, right? You know, your pinky stays put and then all the other fingers move down, right? So you don't really need that much piano experience or that much theory experience to play jazz, okay? And that's kind of what I want to do. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish, but I thank you for that feedback. I was talking way too much, and so I'm just going to keep an emphasis on the doing. So I really appreciate that.